With number one, Sam Darnold, of course, going to those Cleveland Browns. Explain yourself.
Well, I mean, Sam Darnold to me is the face of the franchise type quarterback. I think he's the safest quarterback in this draft. And with Tyrod Taylor there, it gives the Cleveland Browns an opportunity to take a quarterback who I think fits what they like to do and what they will want to do without having to rush him. So I really think once the Jets moved up to number 3, you really can't mess around anymore. Whoever you like most at quarterback, you almost have to take him at number 1.
Has a strong chin for number 1 overall draft pick. How about Saquon Barkley to the G-Men at number 2, Lance?
Well, you know, that Nate Solder deal, that sure wasn't a move for the future. That's a win right now move. Eli Manning's not getting any older, and I understand that people want them to draft quarterback there. But if this guy's a number 1 pick on your board and you think he's special, get him because he can help you right now. The combination of Barkley and Jonathan Stewart could really take some pressure off of Eli Manning in that passing game.
Lance, how about the Jets at number 3? You had them taking Josh Rosen?
Right. You know, and to me, Josh Rosen, I think he is a very high-end potential player or a low-end, depending on that football character. But the Jets moved up with an idea of what they wanted to do at quarterback, and most people aren't mocking Josh Rosen to number 1 with the Browns. So I think they moved up with the potential idea of drafting Josh Rosen here at number 3. He's the most game-ready quarterback probably in the entire NFL draft.
Yeah, at 6'4", 230, he sure is game ready physically. How about with the Browns back at number 4, Bradley Chubb? Why would he be a good fit?
Woo, because he's a dude, that's why. And they've already got Myles Garrett over there. You stick Bradley Chubb with Myles Garrett. You've already got your face of the franchise potential quarterback in Sam Darnold. Well, let's tie it up with a win right now type of pass rusher in Bradley Chubb. One of the ways you win titles is defense and quarterback play. Well, you drafted your quarterback, so let's make that defense tougher and take the top rusher on the board.
All right, we just saw 1 through 4 right there, DJ. You heard what Lance had. He had Saquon Barkley going number 2 to Big Blue. They could certainly use a running game. What do you think about that?
Well, look, I think he's the best player in the draft, but I don't necessarily agree with the pick because there's so much value in that pick. I think you either take the quarterback of the future, considering Eli Manning's 37 years old, or you trade that pick for a huge bounty of picks. We saw that Jets-Colts trade. Yep. That pick is very valuable. I just find it hard to believe that they actually will take the running back.
You know, I think the big thing for the New York Giants, they certainly believe that Davis Webb possibly could be the developmental quarterback of the future. That's why they got that quarterback.
How many trades do you want me to make for quarterbacks? We already know the top 6 are going to get mangled. There are going to be at least 1, if not 2 more trades in this draft for quarterbacks. So, you know, yeah, I agree the Giants could easily trade out of the number 2 pick, but I can't project 400 quarterback trades right now in this mock. Give it some time, DJ.
All right. Well, Bucky, how about this? Lance has Bradley Chubb going to Cleveland. That means he'd be paired up with Myles Garrett, number 1 from just a year ago. We talked about this last week. So what do you think about it this week?
I love it. Okay. I love it. I think it's the best move for the Cleveland Browns. If they go and get Bradley Chubb to pair opposite Myles Garrett, you now have a 1A, 1B combination coming off the edges in that division where you have big quarterbacks that are tough to bring down. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Flacco, even Andy Dalton to be able to come at them off both edges, and then even throwing in Emmanuel Ogbah. Now the Cleveland Browns look like a defense that is capable of competing in that division.
Well, and one of the things we've seen with the Jacksonville Jaguars is you can win very, very quickly if you can rush the passer and get after people. And I think Cleveland right now is going to sit down and make a selection at 4. I don't think they're going to trade out of 4 because it's time to draft blue-chip players. And this is a blue-chip player in Bradley Chubb.
All right, well, DJ, you made mention of a Jets-Colts trade just a few seconds ago, and that gets us to this. Trade alert, because we do have a trade. Lance says the Bills are going to make a 2-for-1 swap with those Denver Broncos. Denver, they get Buffalo's 12th overall selection and 22nd overall pick. That will be in exchange for the Broncos' 5th pick. Lance, Josh Allen to the Bills. Can I get an explanation here? Because we talked about it in the meeting. His numbers against top-flight schools, not so good.
Look, hey, I've got a problem with Josh Allen myself. I think the lack of anticipation, there's some football issues that I have personally, but I'm projecting what I think might happen, and I can tell you there's at least 2 teams that believe Josh Allen is the number 1 quarterback in this draft. So someone's coming up for him, and we'll see if Buffalo is that team. They've got A.J. McCarron in place to play ahead of Josh Allen. He's got the type of arm talent to push it through inclement weather. he's a guy that might make sense for the Buffalo Bills as a quarterback of the future.
DJ, what do you think? Josh Allen, the Wyoming Cowboy, what's your opinion of him?
Look, I have him as the 14th overall player and 4th quarterback. This is just simply supply and demand. There's more teams that need quarterbacks than there are top-tier guys. So he's going to go in the top 6. If you want Josh Allen, you have to make that trade and go up and get him.
All right, Bucky. Tyrod Taylor, he's gone. Do you like Josh Allen as a fit in this offense?
Well, I think it may be a fit because I think the guys that are picking the players see Josh Allen as someone that's very similar to what they left in Carolina. Remember, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane both were at Carolina when Cam Newton was the quarterback. Josh Allen is Cam Newton without all the extra.
Okay.
He's big, athletic, A-plus arm talent. He can move around and make plays. Maybe they think they're getting a guy that can do what they did in Carolina without all the other stuff that may have been a distraction.
And I tell you what else, guys, this is the time of the year where physical traits really start to rise to the top with NFL evaluators because the tape speaks clearly, but at the same time, those physical traits are really, they start to lean heavily on those traits. And I mean, of all the quarterbacks in this draft, Josh Allen's got the physical traits more so than any other quarterback.
And I think I remember, he goes down to Mobile in the Senior Bowl week. He got better each and every day, and then culminating the second half of that game with a couple nice touchdown passes. So everything he's done is build momentum once the season ended.
We just couldn't give him 6'5", though, 6'4", and 7/8", Bucky.
Yeah, that's where he measures that.
Okay.
But really, I think when you look at how they want to play, he's a big, athletic guy. Yeah. You have a new coordinator coming in from the college game. You can do some of the things to help Josh Allen find his way onto the field. You do that, maybe you get a player that isn't a right-now player, but maybe in 2 to 3 years we're saying, wow, Josh Allen is a really, really talented
Buck,
player.
you hit it right there, 2 to 3 years. Need some time. Do not rush him on the field. That's my advice.
You say he's Cam Newton without the extra stuff, so I'm guessing
Cam
that
Newton
means
light,
his
that's what
hat
we'll
game
call him.
not as strong as old Cam.
No
because we
foxtails.
do know that Cam likes a hat or two. Now let's recap picks 1 through 8 for Lance's mock 3.0. You see he has Sam Darnold going number 1. No secret there. Saquon Barkley, Josh Rosen, Bradley Chubb following suit, and Quentin Nelson rounding out the top 8 going to those Chicago Bears. So now let's get back to the mock with our guy Lance Zierlein and Roquan Smith to the 49ers at number 9. Lance, why so?
Well, number 1, because he's an outstanding football player. And what I really like about slotting him here, even though I think there's a good chance he could come off the board before this spot, what I really like about this selection is that they get their next Patrick Willis. Now, he's not as big as Patrick Willis, but he has the same type of alpha mentality. He's the same type of leader, and he's the same type of high-impact player in the middle. And I love the idea of San Francisco getting another Patrick Willis in the middle.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Roquan Smith, we know he's disruptive on defense. Won the Butkus Award as the nation's top linebacker. Sticking with defense, Derwin James. This move to the Redskins would also make a lot of sense. Second-team All-American, first-team All-ACC, yada, yada, yada. We know the guy can play. Vita Vea going to those Oakland Raiders. What do you say?
Beware. Beware.
Wow, that was emphatic, wasn't it? I mean,
I like Vita Vea,
okay.
But here's my problem. If you're going to draft a defensive tackle early in the draft, he needs to be a guy that gets sacks. 9.5 sacks over his career, not enough to lead me to believe that he can be a dominant pass rusher at the next level. And when you have a guy like Khalil Mack who needs a playmate somewhere along that defensive line, a guy that may just end up being a 1 or a 2-down player is not going to be enough to reverse the fortunes of the Oakland Raiders.
Vita Vea to the Raiders. Bucky says beware. And as we said, emphatic, Lance.
Yeah, you know, I respect that, and I respect the concept of you got to be able to rush from the interior. But I think Vea does have some rush along the interior. But I think you also have to weigh the fact that he is a potentially dominant run stopper as well. And they want to get better up the middle. So if you can't do it with the inside linebacker spot, which I've got 2 of them off the board by that spot, you know, you could look Derwin James there, but I liked Vea, and I really consider Deron Payne also another big guy with even fewer sacks, but a guy who I think has some potential to get more sacks on the next level.
All right, Chancellor Jeremiah, how about next? Baker Mayfield to those Miami Dolphins. You in line with this one?
Oh, I'm buying. Okay. I will buy this in a big way for the Miami Dolphins. I think it's a scheme fit for them. I know some folks are shocked that they might be looking at a quarterback with Ryan Tannehill there. I just think they want more at the position, and durability factors in. I think Baker Mayfield getting the ball out of his hand quick, functioning that Adam Gase offense, I think it's a good fit.
Lance, DJ's buying it, man.
Well, and I made it specifically with Gase in mind. I think Gase is the reason why this pick makes sense. And Adam Gase has experience working with a variety of different types of quarterbacks and fitting offenses to their needs and really having some success. I think he could do the same thing with Baker and potentially get Baker playing early on, maybe even in his rookie season.
All right, Bucky, next up, Derwin James to Washington. We just touched on all his collegiate accolades. Could he do the same thing in the NFL? Buyer beware.
I'm buying. Okay. I'm buying this wholeheartedly. I think this is a great move for the Washington Redskins. Derwin James in the middle of that defense, being an enforcer, is something that they need. Now, I want to go all the way back to Sean Taylor because I'm not going to put Derwin James in there. I'm not going to put that pressure on him. But when you have someone in the middle of the field that can discourage wide receivers from running, it changes the way passing games attack you. I believe Derwin James can be that intimidator, that enforcer between the hashes.
Lance, it's 2 buys in a row from DJ and Bucky.
Well, I'm loving it, and here's one of the reasons why it does, I think, make a lot of sense is you need a captain of the defense, and I think he gives you that sheriff mentality that the Giants have with Landon Collins. The difference is I think Derwin James is incredibly versatile, and that versatility, I think, hurt him sometimes at Florida State where they ask him to do too many things. In the NFL, I think they will fine-tune his role and really find a position that best suits him and maybe not ask him to do quite as many things as Florida State had him doing.
All right, I can roll with that. And last but not least, DJ, Minkah Fitzpatrick falling to Green Bay at number 14. Buyer beware.
I'll buy it twice. Can I buy it three times?
Okay.
If he's going to be there at that pick for the Green Bay Packers, yes. That's not going to take him the full allotment of time to turn that card in if Minkah Fitzpatrick were to fall right into their lap. I know, look, there's a lot of discussion about teams maybe lukewarm on him and him sliding down. This is an absolute steal if he's there at this point in time for the Green Bay Packers. But we better get through this segment because I think Lance has an egg hunt he's got to get to.
Okay, back to the shirt.
Listen, this is a big buy as well. I mean, it's one of the reasons I love putting him here, but I'm preparing people for the inevitability of Minkah Fitzpatrick sliding out of that top 4, out of that top 10, because he is a cornerback. That's great, but he's not a lockdown corner. He's not an outside cornerback, and I don't think that Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to be a guy that, you know, we talked about Bucky and Vita Vea not being a top 10 pick because he doesn't rush the quarterback. Well, Minkah Fitzpatrick isn't a lockdown defender as well, and I don't think he's a true free safety. So I don't think he carries the same positional value that typically goes inside the top 10 that most people expect.
Now let's jump ahead to the 18th pick. Lance, you have Marcus Davenport going to Seattle.
Well, Seattle covets physical traits. They covet pass rushers. Since 2012, they've made a very strong effort to add pass rushers, whether it was Cliff Avril, Michael Bennett as free agent signings, the drafting of Bruce Irvin in 2012, Frank Clark, Malik McDowell just last year. I think they will add rush again. I think they add physical traits, and I think they add Marcus Davenport if he's still on the board there for them.
All right, Lance, what about the Dallas Cowboys? You have them taking the man out of Florida, Taven Bryan?
Oh, I love Taven Bryan. Now, here's the thing. Taven Bryan isn't very high on the instincts and football awareness charts, but he has tremendous athletic ability. He has tremendous explosiveness. He's a 35-inch vertical leap and a 30-rep guy, so he's explosive and powerful, and he has a ton of upside, and that's what Rod Marinelli loves. Upside and get off. And this guy can get off the ball quickly and get into the backfield as a disruptor. I love Taven Bryan for Rod Marinelli and the Cowboys specifically.
No, he would go number 19 if Dallas does decide to choose him. He had a career-high 40 tackles in 2017. And how about Leighton Vander Esch? That's all you have to say. He's the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. There you have it. Full bold color, 17 through 24 in Lance Zierlein's mock 3.0. So, Lance, Calvin Ridley to the Panthers. Why do you like this fit, and who does he most closely resemble in the NFL right now?
Well, I like the fit because it's a big need right now for the Carolina Panthers. I think he is potentially a wide receiver 1, and my grade on the NFL Draft Tracker would reflect that. I've got him better than the 24th player. But the guy, he reminds me of two people. On the high side, Marvin Harrison, and I know that's going to raise some eyebrows, but from the body type standpoint, the speed and the ability to run his routes without slowing down in his change of direction, I think he's very similar to Marvin Harrison. Neither wide receiver has much wasted motion in their route running, and both can get open very, very quickly. So on the high end, I like Marvin Harrison. Now, if we're going to talk about a more standard issue comp, I'll go with Marquise Lee from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Marquise Lee, same type of body type. He's also a very crisp route runner and a guy who can create some early separation. Marquise Lee ran a 4.52 at the Combine. Calvin Ridley was in the low 4.4s. But other than that, I think their games are very similar as well. So on the high end, we've got Marvin Harrison. on the more standard issue, middle of the road, I'm going to go Marquise Lee, and that's not so bad either.
Marvin Harrison, Marquise Lee, Buck, do you like these comparisons?
I like comparison. I think he's more like Reggie Wayne than Marvin Harrison, but I do think he has some elite level talent.
Okay. I'd go with Jeremy Maclin, is who he reminded me, coming out of Missouri, and I have him as a 22nd player, so the 24th pick to the Panthers, I think there's a good value, good fit there.
Okay, what do you think about the fit, DJ? Or
Bucky, I think the fit is ideal because he's the number one receiver. I think he's a route runner. We've seen of late guys who can run routes that are polished in terms of getting in and out of breaks. They have a chance to have success immediately at the next level. Calvin Ridley is a route runner. For all those other things that he may or may not be, he can run routes. That's going to give him a chance to be successful very early in his career.
They told me DJ quick. They told me to move quickly on this one, so I don't know if you can spin.
No, look, he's got juice. You've got the size on the other side, so getting somebody that can really, really run and some explosiveness would be a good fit there for the Panthers.
Explosive players, always something you're looking for when it comes to draft time. Hayden Hurst to the Titans, Lance?
Yeah, Titan fans get a little salty when you put a tight end with them, but the fact is Hayden Hurst is the best combination tight end in this draft in terms of the ability to make plays after the catch, the ability to make the tough catch, and the ability to go out there and block for you. Delanie Walker, his contract is up after next year. He's been a great Titan, but I don't see them extending Delanie Walker when he's 34 years old. I know they have Jonnu Smith, but Hayden Hurst adds another level of threat for Marcus Mariota in that offense.
And his name sounds like a wrestling heel, so that's one of the best parts, and he has the ponytail to boot. Coming to the ring, Hayden Hurst. Now 25 through 32 round out like this. Hayden Hurst at 25 and Darius Geis, who I said earlier in the program will be the steal of the first round on Right or Wrong. Now I was 1 for 6, as DJ pointed out, but I digress, DJ.
Hey, look, it's all forgiven. It's all forgiven here, Cole. I want to get to that Steelers pick, though, Lance. Rashaan Evans, to me, there's certain guys you watch and you say, that's a Pittsburgh Steeler. He's one of them.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I don't know if he'll be there because this is such a great draft for inside linebackers in the first round. I really like all 4 of them. But what he really represents is the ability to be diverse for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He can play and thump in the middle. He's gotten to be a much tougher, more physical player over the last couple of years. But the nexus and his origin was as an outside pass rusher. So it allows the Steelers to move him all over the defensive front, blitz with them, rush with them, thump with them, and this guy can really run. And he is a ready-made play now inside linebacker to take over that spot for Ryan Shazier. I think if he's there, there's no chance the Steelers don't take him.
Tough, fast, and physical. Those are all the traits that the Pittsburgh Steelers want. You think about the versatility that he brings, very similar to Ryan Shazier in terms of being an outside rusher that made the move inside.
And I'll just tag it with this. To me, when you look at T.J. Watt going forward, and now you add Rashaan Evans, how about that young nucleus at the linebacker position, which is the key to that Pittsburgh Steelers defense?